'cause you got a heart so big it could crush this town, and I can't hold out forever, even walls fall down.
I have been playing Resident Evil 4 Remake, and it was fine, if a bit familiar and boring. Supporting another remake though made me feel dirty, and so I panicked and installed some indie hipster games. Night in the Woods was a pleasant surprise, but Undertale, despite its overwhelming positive reviews, didn't do it for me, and I dropped it. I was planning to create a video bashing it, but then I played some more to get some footage and ended up liking it and then completing it. So I guess this will be a proper review after all.
Rika read about this urban legend that says if you stay a virgin until you're 30, you automatically become a wizard.
I am almost 30, so I am neither the youngest nor the oldest monkey around here. But the games that I played when I was growing up looked like this. So I have no nostalgia at all for this kind of graphics. The character portraits can be charming, but besides those, it is quite underwhelming. The music is a home run though. Now the game itself is a role-playing game of sorts. You play as a child who has fallen down to a place populated by monsters and have to escape. This translates into going through a couple of levels, solving puzzles, talking with monsters and fighting battles. The RPG mechanics are bare bones, the puzzles are few and easy, and the emphasis is on the story and the battles. Of those two, the storytelling is the highlight of the game. I know that some people think it is important to play games like this blind, and if that is you, then perhaps you should re-evaluate your decision to watch a review of the game before playing it. For the rest of us, the twist of the story is that you don't have to fight and kill the monsters, and instead you can befriend them. This is obviously the way the game is intended to be played, and the result is a cute and heartwarming story. The characters are quirky, the dialogue can be fun, and it can be quite enjoyable. The humor fades a bit towards the end though, and we are left with the fairly simple story and premise, and it gets a bit stale. I played Nights in the Woods before Undertale, and that game of course have its own share of problems, but the story there have so many more elements and layers to it, compared to Undertale. There is nothing wrong of course with the simple story, but the story-focused game needs to keep the story interesting throughout the duration of the game, and Undertale didn't pull it off for me. Undertale also does the whole Spec the line shit, where it tries to trick you into doing bad things that it then scolds you for doing, and it can be a bit too transparent at times. Also, despite being a bit of a hippie at heart, I can't help but feel that if a thinking and feeling person attacks someone, then the attacker also have some responsibility to de-escalate the situation. Throughout the game, you are, after all, only defending yourself. But whatever, the storytelling is still good. It is cute, heartwarming and enjoyable. Then we have the combat. The combat is turn-based, and on your turn you can either attack, do an action or use an item. It's super simple, and the focus is on what happens on the enemy's turn. Here you are in control of a little heart, and you basically have to avoid getting hit by the enemy attacks. I would call this bullet hell combat. Now credit where credit is due. The attacks and rules changes all the time, and there is a lot of creativity here. And to some degree, it can be fun. However, how fun is this gameplay really? It might be that I am just not a bullet hell gameplay fan, but to me the answer is not that fun actually. And so the sections where the game threw a bunch of combat on you wasn't all that fun, and it is even worse when the game tries to be halved. Games being halved in a meaningful way is a tricky thing that means different things for different people, but to me it is just not meaningful to learn these 2D attack patterns so that I can dodge them perfectly. To be fair, the game is not all that hard, but for some bosses later in the game I had to replay them a couple of times, and that was a couple of times too many. The game also restarts you at save points when you die, and I am not really looking to replay these fights in my comfy story game. I would certainly have enjoyed the game more if it reduced the number of combat encounters. But with this said, I found Undertale to be an enjoyable and unique game, and while I don't like it to the degree that some people seem to, I can certainly understand why people like it.
何かに目覚めた